You know, when you think of the Sonic franchise, most people often turn their sights to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Huh, it looks like I left one character out. Yes, it's finally time to dissect the character of Dr. Ivo Robotnik, or Eggman if you prefer. He's been here since day one, appearing in the original Sonic the Hedgehog game on the Mega Drive, or Genesis if you're outside of Europe, and he shows no signs of disappearing anytime soon. But his character has also, like many others, undergone a huge tonal shift over the years, turning him into another outlet of the comic relief of the series. I wonder why I'm getting a sense of deja vu here. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's get to breaking down his character, starting from the classics and working our way up, as per usual. But before we crack on, I just want to thank today's sponsor of the video, Atlas VPN. Hey, have you ever been sitting in your Alpha Gamer pad one day and feared for your internet security?
This is terrible!
Well, fret no more because Atlas VPN has you covered. It's real easy to use as you just spoof your location to other countries and bam, problem solved. Not only does it protect you from malicious content, but you'll get to enjoy streaming your favorite videos at faster speeds, and if you shop online, you'll get great deals to help you save some cash so you can buy even more Sonic games to play. Plus, you can protect as many devices as you want with no restrictions at all. And right now, there is a huge sale where you can get 3 years worth of protection for $1.39 a month, with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No way!
That's right, 3 years for just $1.39 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go and grab this deal right now using the link in the description below and enjoy your internet security once again. Now back to the video. Robotnik in the old days served as the perfect antithesis to Sonic's free-spirited and rebellious nature. He was there to tear down nature, build his mechanical empire up, and capture free-roaming animals in order to convert them into badniks, which were his brand of robots. Or are his brand of robots. I'm still confused about that. Is it still mechs, or did they switch it back to badniks for the modern era? I mean, Lost World couldn't decide between the two and jumped between the two names. Are they just synonyms for each other? Somebody clear that up for me in the comments, please. But getting back to the point, that was all he needed to be at the time. He was the villain because of his villainous actions. He converted these animals into badniks, he stole the Master Emerald, and he manipulated Knuckles in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. He literally created a horrible lifeless future on Little Planet in the bad future of Sonic CD, and he has no problem in destroying the environment in order to progress his ideals. No matter how goofy he looked or how big that shit-eating grin was, Robotnik meant business, and so he was treated like a genuine threat. And that's a word you're going to hear me say several times in this video. Threat. But I'll explain that a bit more later. So far, at least based off of what I've said, you're probably thinking, wow, Robotnik seems a bit generic for the main villain of the series. Well, to whoever was thinking that, you are dead wrong. Eggman has always had several traits that set him apart from the pack of mediocre villains, and some of these pretty much span the entire series. One of these traits is his narcissism and just how full of himself he is. He believes himself to be better than everybody and has no problems displaying his presence. Eggman isn't the type of villain who would sneak around and fade into the background, silently taking out the protagonists one by one. He would gladly charge head on and make his presence known. Similar to Megamind, it's all about presentation! He has his face plastered everywhere, from the walls to his robots to even his gigantic death egg in space that's literally called the Death Egg. Even in Sonic Unleashed, he has statues of himself. Again, he has this narcissism, but also this degree of goofiness about him. But neither one of those traits stopped him from being a force to be reckoned with. You have to remember that he isn't just some idiot who's full of himself. He does have an IQ of 300. That's the kind of IQ that would make Shikamaru blush. But there was an almost perfect balance that was achieved here between the goofiness and the seriousness, and these characteristics carried over perfectly to the adventure games. In Adventure 1, Eggman's plans needed to step up to something just a little larger. So he decides to use Chaos, the ancient water-based god of destruction and also the guardian of the Chow. He wants to feed it the 7 Chaos Emeralds so that it would use perfect chaos to destroy Station Square. And why does he do this? Well, to build Robotnik Land, of course. The absolute pure overkill of using an ancient godlike creature to level a city in order to rebuild that very city in his image is crazy. But it's never treated as a joke. Sure, Sonic pokes fun at Eggman, but those moments are few and far between. Eggman is still treated like a serious threat as much as Chaos is. Again, because of his actions, like with how he tries to blow up Station Square with a giant missile, or how he's able to steal the emeralds from Sonic and Tails in order to fuel chaos. Hell, he even has these awesome moments of flying the egg carrier over Station Square and the Mystic Ruins, just to assert himself. And would you look at that? Not only does it have his face plastered right on the side, but it's also called the fucking egg carrier. Just what you would expect from him. Also, there's the voice actor, and I'm just gonna say it, Dean Bristow is my favorite voice for Eggman. It's just so intimidating, and you buy what Eggman is saying because of it. When Eggman says something like,
"You're too slow! Sonic, if you don't come here, she will die!"
you know that he isn't messing around. Nowadays, though, it's a bit of a different story, but I'll talk about that Eggman a bit later. But also in Adventure, the trend of Dr. Eggman being betrayed began. Here, for example, Chaos turns on him. But does Eggman stay down? Hell no, this man has way too much pride and is too full of himself for that. He immediately gets on his feet and uses the egg carrier to try and take Chaos down. If he wasn't going to control Chaos, he was going to destroy him. Unfortunately though, Eggman does underestimate the strength of Chaos and his ship is destroyed, but hey, at least he went down fighting. That's the kind of moment that felt true to his character. But we can see here from Adventure 1 that his character was maintained and still great. He still has that narcissistic Eggman charm that we've come to love, but he isn't just spouting jokes and being made out to be a fool. He is a force to be reckoned with and so is treated as such. But then there's Sonic Adventure 2, where we got, hands down, the best interpretation and representation of Eggman. Eggman's character here was just elevated and given a much larger chance to shine, a lot of which is due to him actually playing a much larger role in the story as one of the playable characters. He's just in control here. Throughout this game, he has everything planned out. He single-handedly busts his way through a secure government facility in order to retrieve Project Shadow. He blows up Prison Island whilst retrieving the emeralds, all in order to power this Eclipse Cannon. The Eclipse Cannon, when charged with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, can be used to destroy entire planets. Oh, but he didn't need 7 to make his statement. With the help of Shadow and Rouge, he retrieves 6 of the emeralds, and what does he do? He puts himself on every TV screen and monitor in the entire city and blows up half the moon as a threat for control of the country to be turned over to him. This just shows you how much of a presence he has and how egotistical this man is. I mean, think about that for 1 second. He blew up half the moon as a statement. But nothing, and I repeat, nothing will ever come close to this scene that I've talked about several times already. But it's just too perfect of a showcase of these characters to not talk about. Eggman needs the 7th emerald in order to activate the Eclipse Cannon and knows that Sonic and his team possess it. But Tails had created a fake emerald that would destroy the Eclipse Cannon when it was placed in it, so Eggman literally holds Amy at gunpoint and gets Tails to tell Sonic to meet him. When Sonic arrives, Eggman wants him to hand over the emerald, but both Sonic and Tails think that they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by giving him the fake emerald. But there was one problem. Eggman knew about the fake emerald, or at least very highly suspected it. We know this from the cutscene earlier when Eggman says,
"This is strange. It's showing energy readings from 2 separate Chaos Emeralds. Did they really think they could trick me with that fake emerald?"
But there's another overlooked piece of evidence that points to him knowing this. In a previous cutscene, Eggman specifically said to Tails to tell Sonic. That means that he knew that Sonic was doing something with the Chaos Emerald, and he knows for a fact that they aren't going to help with activating the Eclipse Cannon, so logically, they must be stopping it, which supports his suspicion of there being a fake emerald. And then, in a truly high IQ moment, he tricks Tails into confirming this suspicion for him.
Whoa! You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Tails!
Because you just told me, Fox Boy.
Now Eggman has Sonic captured and prepares to fire him out into space, and he knows for a fact that the real Chaos Emerald isn't on Sonic, which means that it won't get destroyed alongside the capsule. Sonic reassures his friends, and then Eggman releases the capsule and blows it up. Eggman had just single-handedly outplayed every single person in that room, and won. Kinda. I mean, Sonic survives, but nobody thought that he would, not even Sonic himself. In fact, if not for Shadow showcasing the Chaos Control earlier in this game, that would have been it. Eggman would have finally won. Eggman even, in respect to Sonic, lowers his head after saying farewell to his admirable adversary. Just, what a brilliant scene that showcased Eggman in all his glory. And for anyone concerned, this Eggman does still have that standard degree of goofiness about him that naturally blends into his character instead of sticking out like a sore thumb. It's the little things like him scratching his ass while he's watching the news, or the animated movements and facial expressions. It just works. And then there's the last story. After the Chaos Emeralds were placed into the Eclipse Cannon, it didn't fire. As it turns out, Gerald Robotnik had programmed the Ark to crash into the Earth at a high velocity as an act of revenge for the death of his granddaughter Maria. And so, for the first time, Eggman teams up with Sonic and his cohorts to help stop this crash from occurring. The very fact that Eggman did this, in spite of his grandfather who he had so much respect for and looked up to, goes to great lengths to show you more about his character. For the first time, he was a hero. Even in the final stages, he helps guide the other members and tells them how to proceed. And that ending cutscene during the credits, man, it just felt so real.
As a child, I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together.
You're right.
Is there anything more I need to say here? Anything? This for me is the definitive Eggman where he peaks as a character, which unfortunately means that his character starts to go downhill from here. Sonic Heroes is a bit of a strange situation as you never actually fight Eggman. It's just Metal Sonic who's assumed control of his armada. Weirdly enough, you actually have to help Eggman as Team Chaotix, so this is technically the only game where you only help Eggman.
Strange, isn't it?
But even after he's freed in the last story, he has this defeatist attitude and talks about how they can't beat Metal Sonic, and if only they had the 7 Chaos Emeralds then they could actually do something about it. Just... what? The Eggman I know wouldn't whine and bitch over whether he could win. He would use his entire armada of ships and weaponry that were showcased in cutscenes and in the last 2 levels to take the fight to Metal Sonic directly. You know, like he did in Adventure 1. But no. Imagine how awesome it would have been if during the fight against Metal Sonic, Eggman was helping on the side, providing a distraction or even injuring Metal Sonic to allow for an opening so that Sonic could attack. It would kinda be like how Chip aided Sonic using the Gaia Colossus when they were fighting against Dark Gaia. But no, we gotta deal with this Eggman who literally does nothing this entire game. You know, it's starting to make sense why I still get comments from people who question why Heroes is my favorite game. In Shadow the Hedgehog, he was just underutilized. I think this may be more of a problem because of the amount of characters and villains in that game constantly taking the spotlight, so the focus is kinda not really on anyone. But even then, you can still have character consistency even if the screen time isn't quite there. But the game doesn't really do much with Eggman anyways. He unleashes his army to combat the Black Arms and military, but the entire power struggle is moved to the background of the whole game. He doesn't really do anything here. He does do one thing, which is that during the final fight he confirms that Shadow is in fact the real Shadow, but again, more could have been done with him.
Adam, can you hear me? This might be the last chance I have to speak to you, so what I said about having created you, it was all a lie. Everyone thought you died during that horrible incident, but I rescued you with one of my robots. You lost your memory, that's all. You really are the ultimate life form my grandfather created.
To be fair here, he does have that Eggman charm we know and love, but that's all there really is. Though I will say that I do really like the egg pawns that were introduced in Heroes and used here. Sonico 6, the game that most people love to hate, has Eggman once again kinda doing nothing. Sure, he has a goal, which is to obtain the Flames of Disaster from Elise, but he never really does anything to achieve that goal. You know, aside from kidnapping Elise 47 fucking times, but he doesn't do anything with her. And he does very little else in this game. Oh, he manages to send Sonic to the future. That's cool. Oh wait, he's back literally 2 acts later. Huh. On top of that, Eggman here is just boring, and I mean boring. None of that trademark charm, no laughing, no goofiness, no narcissism, no buildings with his face on it, and even the robots here just look plain boring. Even his design here is weird. He has a slimmer build and for some reason has Dalek nipples strapped to him. And why can I see his eyes? That's not something I should see. This Eggman sucks. He's serious, but not serious enough to really do anything noteworthy in this story. He just kinda blends into the background, which is unlike Eggman at all. Like I said, he has that huge personality that's quite prominent, but here, that's just gone. He does work with Sonic and the others during the last story, but he's just on comms, unlike Adventure 2 where he directly helps the others and had his own playable segment. Like my other videos, I'm not counting his appearance in Secret Rings as he plays a completely different character in the form of King Sharia. And also, because I know I'm going to be asked about this, he's okay in the Riders games. I'm more talking about original and Zero Gravity here, fuck Free Riders. He has those normal quirks, and I once again like the design of his robots in this game. You know, they feel like an extension of his personality. But he does start to get treated like more of a joke character here. Nothing on the level of some games we'll be talking about real soon, but he doesn't have any moments on the level that SA2 Eggman did. Overall, not horrible, but nothing particularly amazing either. Then there's Unleashed. Unleashed had such a promising start for him. We kick off showcasing his giant armada of ships, which I'll admit does seem to be lacking with the standard Eggman Empire insignia, but I love that this is exactly what Eggman would do, overcompensate through his technology. I mean, does he really need all these ships? And on top of the several Eggman style laughs, we finally get to see some more of his cunning nature after so long by him deceiving Sonic into using his super form in order to trap him and then proceed to use a machine that strips him of his super form and the Chaos Emeralds of their energy. And why? So he can fire a giant laser out of this floating dildo to split the world into pieces in order to awaken an ancient entity that dwells within the core of the planet known as Dark Gaia. We immediately get an Eggman that's an established threat and is well in character from what we know and love. It's too bad that it becomes a joke for the rest of this game. No, I'm not kidding. In pretty much every cutscene involving him past this, he's either acting quite obliviously or is constantly undermined by other characters, including the first appearance of Orbot. And this sucks because Eggman finally accomplishes his goal from SA1. He builds Eggman Land, and I love the design here. It looks like a dystopian hellish amusement park with Eggman insignia all over the place, including a gigantic gold statue of himself. But it doesn't quite have that feeling to it because you spend the entire game laughing at Eggman instead of seeing him as a viable threat. This was just such a huge missed opportunity. Although I will say that the Egg Dragoon boss fight and sequence was pretty badass. The cutscene that plays beforehand was great, you know, it didn't treat Eggman like the medium of comic relief, and Eggman actually tries going for the kill here as he drags Sonic towards the center of the Earth. Sonic even at one point has to tell Eggman to calm down.
The ground's breaking up!
Jeez, Eggman, simmer down! Wing units deploy! You were lucky, Sonic, but luck can't last forever!
This and the opening cutscene is proof that this game could have achieved that Adventure 2 level of balance with Eggman's characteristics, but they chose to go with that more comedic route, which, in my opinion, was the downfall here. Look, I don't have a problem with Eggman being a bit more comedic, as that does play into the goofiness of his character. But I do have a problem when the comedy is so overdone to the point where it starts to take away from the character and turn him into a joke. But now, it's time to move on to the dreaded meta era of the games.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Sonic Colors made Eggman into a joke through and through. There are no redeeming qualities here, which sucks because the premise is actually pretty cool. More on that in a few minutes. But he's constantly ridiculed, never taken seriously, and doesn't even take himself seriously. He's just a comic relief punching bag here and nothing more. And I may as well talk about this now, but I like Mike Pollock. I think he's an awesome Eggman voice. It's mainly the material that he has to work with that I can't get behind. The thing with Mike Pollock is that people say he suits a more comedic style of Eggman, and I can agree to an extent, but I think given the right script, he can work wonders with the character. Look at the opening for Unleashed, that had great tones for the character with a nice mix of goofiness and seriousness. That's all I really need here. But no, we need the funny jokes to make the children laugh. And the jokes aren't even that funny to begin with. And this extends to his character in Sonic Generations. He appears at the very tail end of the game as the reveal for the final boss, but he just spouts jokes and gets made fun out of. It doesn't feel very climactic at all, and any tension that there could have been for this fight is suddenly removed. Just why? Lost World is weird when it comes to Eggman. He gets the colors treatment a lot of the time, but there are cutscenes where he's actually kinda serious, but not the serious that we're used to, if that makes any sense. He spends a lot of time bickering with Sonic and Tails, and everybody still treats him as though he's no threat. But then you have these cutscenes that feel so out of place, like Eggman practically mourning the death of Tails. Or how about that cutscene where he goes absolutely mental bananas and threatens to eat the Zetis' hearts whilst forcing them to watch as he destroys the things that they love most.
But you are destined to fail, as the fat fool has failed before you. I'll get fat from eating your black hearts, you Eggman wannabes!
Whoa!
I will burn your world, you rebellious scum! I will destroy everything you love and make you watch! No! 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 Boss, your hands! As long as I can still strangle a Zeti, my hands are fine.
Oh, you thought I was joking? No, that actually happened. Because of this weirdly toned Eggman, it just comes off as poorly written with no real direction for the character, and when it's revealed that he's the final boss of the game, like Generations, it doesn't feel earned. Again, the premise here was solid, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Oddly enough, Forces of All Things was a step in the right direction. He's taken a little more seriously and even has multiple backup plans after Sonic thinks he can beat Eggman. But nothing feels earned here. Sure, Eggman supposedly kills Sonic and takes over the world, but nothing is done with that. The environments look the same before and after his takeover, like Green Hill just being Green Hill. This would have been an excellent opportunity to show alternate dystopian designs of these iconic places like Green Hill and Chemical Plant, instead of just rehashing them for the sake of nostalgia pandering. Hell, these burning cities and landscapes don't look like anything Eggman has conquered. you know for a fact that he would have had Eggman Empire posters all over the place alongside statues of himself as almost this militaristic dictator, and the place would look like an absolute hellhole. But no, Eggman's takeover is not treated as though it's a big deal, and that sucks so much because it should be. And the worst part is that Eggman's takeover isn't even shown on screen. It's told to us through a fucking Windows Movie Maker text box. What the actual shit? All this makes it feel like there are no stakes, especially because Eggman once again isn't taken very seriously. So even after we liberate the world from the Eggman Empire, we don't really feel any relief or satisfaction. It's just something that kinda happens. The big problem with the meta-era games is that Eggman isn't a threat. The stuff that he does, you know, enslaving an alien race to use as fuel, destroying the timeline, enslaving the Zeti, using energy absorbed from the world which slowly destroys it, and taking over the world, are genuinely villainous actions. But because Eggman isn't a threat as we need to laugh at him, all these actions are immediately undermined and not taken seriously, because we don't take Eggman seriously. This stops him from feeling like a true villain, and now he feels like a joke of a character. And Sonic Boom took this jokey, comedic Eggman to a whole new level. I honestly think he can be pretty funny in the TV show, and I think the character of the Eggman in the TV show has the best suit for Mike Pollock's Eggman and his delivery, but I don't need that frenemy-style jokey Eggman in the main canon. But we do have that, and it means that we can't have a serious, proper Eggman because of it. The only medium right now that halfway does his character any justice is, once again, the IDW comics. He, like pretty much all the characters, isn't perfect here, but he's a lot better than what we've been getting in the games. It does have a bit of a focus on the comedic side, so it is leaning more towards an Unleashed style representation of the character, so he does have a ton of great moments here, but unfortunately some of them do get bogged down because of this. Through everything that I've talked about and through all the games and appearances, it's clear that Eggman has had a serious downfall from his glory days. He is no longer that cunning, goofy threat, but is just the subject of the franchise's comedy. Even in official animations like Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, well, you can see exactly what Eggman has devolved into. I hope to God that he gets sorted in the upcoming Sonic Frontiers game, but as always, only time will tell. Well, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not leave a like? And hey, if you really loved it, then feel free to subscribe and turn notifications on to keep up with future content. I can't thank you guys enough for the crazy amount of support this channel has received, and I hope to keep delivering great content to you. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.